Hello 8th grade. In this video, I'm going to be talking about pages 239 and 240 in your grammar book. So make sure you have your book open. It's a new concept. This is, of course, after the test that you took last week, and so we're going into some of the last units of the book. I'm going to try to explain this concept called sentence structure as clearly as possible. It's not a complicated concept, but it does have a few little pieces to it, so make sure you're able to pay attention. You might want to get some notebook paper and take these notes, write these things down. I might even give you some extra credit if you take the notes down and you send them back into me in your folder so that I know you did it. So you got to watch the video and you got to take notes. Okay, so that's kind of an incentive for you if you want to do that. But definitely pause the video right now, get you some notebook paper, and have your grammar book. All right. On page 239, it says sentence structure. Now, what is sentence structure? It doesn't have a definition of it in the book, so I just kind of made up my own, what kind of a concise way of talking about it. Sentence structure is using words, phrases, and clauses to make effective sentences. Okay? We've gone over all the parts of speech now and kind of how to use them as best as possible. And we're working on putting them all together to make the best sentences that we can so that we can communicate concisely, clearly, and effectively. Okay? And so using words and phrases and clauses to make effective sentences. I'm focusing, and this page focuses more specifically on clauses. Words, we know what words are, we can put them together. Phrases are kind of like the prepositional phrases and infinitive phrases, but clauses is where the sentences come from. Okay, so let me move over to this next part. Hopefully this is a little bit of review. I've gone over this multiple times, but here's the two types of clauses, and these of course are in your book. A clause is a group of words that contains both a subject and a verb. It's part of a sentence. Point 2 in your book, I'm following in your book now. An independent clause expresses a complete thought and can stand alone in a sentence. Okay, so independent clauses, complete thought, it has a subject and a verb. It's many times what we just call a sentence. Okay, an independent clause can be the same thing as just a regular sentence. A dependent clause does have a subject and a verb, but it will not express a complete thought, okay? It is introduced by these relatives and subordinated conjunctions: if, because, who, which, that. Hopefully those are, you remember them a little bit. So a dependent clause has to be connected to an independent clause. It can't be by itself, okay? But specifically today, we're just focusing on the independent clauses, okay? It can be a sentence, it expresses a complete thought, and there are two sentence structures that come from independent clauses, okay? So we'll save dependent for a later date. Today we're just focusing on independent clauses. So I'm going to go to the last bit of explanations. Okay, sentence structure. The first two types of sentence structures, way to form sentences, are simple and compound. This might be kind of review. This isn't the first time you've heard of stuff like this, but it is good to just try to understand how they are formed, okay? So a simple sentence has a subject and a verb. It's just basic, just like that. It's the easiest type of sentence, okay? I went to the store. I like cats, okay? It's just a very easy sentence. Compound, if you remember what compound means, two or more, okay? So compound would be two or more sentences, and a simple sentence is just one sentence, okay? But how are the compound sentences put together? They have a subject and a verb. It's a complete thought. It can stand by itself, but they are joined by coordinated conjunctions like and, but, for, nor, or, and yet, or a semicolon. If you remember all the way back at the beginning of the year when we were talking about commas, okay? What goes between two sentences? Comma and a coordinated conjunction, or a semicolon can go between two sentences, two independent clauses. Hopefully it's all kind of starting to come together for you, okay? So let's get into your sentences in your book, and we'll try to kind of make some sense of what they look like. So I'm looking on page 239, down at the very bottom. Exercise A, let me read the directions real quick. It says draw 2 lines under each verb and 1 line under the subject, so finding your subject and verb. And then put a box around the, sorry for the bell, put a box around the common coordinating conjunction or the semicolon. So they want you to find the connector that is joining the 2 sentences, okay? So let's look at number 1 real quick. I'm going to read the sentence. It says, duty makes us do things well, but love makes us do them beautifully. Okay. You're looking for the coordinating conjunction. It'll help because there's a comma next to it. Okay, it shouldn't be hard to find. It's comma but right in basically in the middle of the sentence. Okay, so you can put a box around that. And then let's find the subject and verb on the first side. It says duty makes us do things well. Duty is the subject, makes is the verb. Okay, so you can underline them. On the second half of the sentence, we have love makes us do them beautifully. Love makes. Okay, so duty makes on the first side, love makes on the second side. 2 completely separate sentences, 2 completely separate thoughts, but they're joined by the coordinating conjunction in the middle. This is a compound sentence. Number 2, try and fail, but do not fail to try. Kind of a little quote there. Let me read it again. Number 2. Try and fail, but do not fail to try. Looking for the connector, the coordinating conjunction or a semicolon. Very easy. It's right in the middle again. Comma, but. Put a box around it. On the first side, we actually have an understood you as the subject. So you try and fail. 2 verbs. Try, fail. On the other side, we have another understood you. You do fail. You do fail. Okay, 2 separate thoughts. Look at number 3. It is hard to fail, but it is worse never to have tried to succeed. Look for the coordinating conjunction. Comma, but again. Put a box around it. Comma, but. And then we have, on the first side, look for your subject and verb. It is. That's the subject and verb. It and is, just 2 little words. And then on the other side of the comma but, on the other side of the coordinating conjunction, we have it is again. Okay, so just very simple. We have it is and it is. One on one side and one on the other. 2 separate thoughts that are being expressed, joined by coordinating conjunction. Compound sentence. All of these are compound sentence, by the way. Number 4, last one on this bit. One person can make a difference and everyone should try. We have a different coordinating conjunction this time. It's comma and then on the first side we have person can make, and on the other side we have everyone should try. Everyone should try, and that's your subject and verbs. All right, flip the page, 240. I'll let you look at 5 and 6 by yourself. Number 6 has a semicolon in it, so make sure you pay attention to that. I'm going to go ahead, if you want to pause the video and do 5 and 6 real quick, you can. I'm going to go ahead and go to exercise B now, where it has a little bit different of an idea. All of exercise A sentences were compound. Here in exercise B, they've mixed it together and we have some simple and compound sentences, okay? So how do you tell the difference? It's basically, does it have a conjunction or a semicolon? If it doesn't have one of these, then it's most likely a simple sentence, just one thought. But it still wants you to find your subjects and verbs and find the joiner, put a box around it, the semicolon or the coordinating conjunction, and then identify it as either a simple or a compound sentence. So let's jump into it or do a few of them with you. Number 1 says, a man becomes a Christian, he is not born one. Might be hard to see it because it's just this itty bitty little semicolon. That's what it looks like, right kind of in the middle of the sentence, after the word Christian. And I want you to put a little box around it. That joins the 2 sentences, so we have one sentence on this side, a man becomes a Christian, and one sentence on the other side, he is not born one. automatically we know it's a compound sentence. So you can go ahead and put C in the blank if you'd like. And then if you want to find your subjects and verbs. Man becomes, and he is born. Man becomes, he is born. Number 2. Okay. Finding the coordinating conjunction if we have one. We actually have both of them in this sentence. We've got a semicolon and a coordinated conjunction. Not a bad thing. If you remember all the way back from the punctuation sentence unit, sometimes if we have extra punctuation in a sentence, or if you just want to be more clear and definitive, you can use a semicolon, because that's what they do. They just divide sentences. But anyway, we have the semicolon and but in the sentence, so put a box around them. So automatically, what does that mean this sentence has to be? Simple or compound? It's compound. Okay, so you can put that in blank and then go find your subjects and verbs. I'll tell you real quick. On the first side, we have we may have found. We may have found. All 3 of those words are the verb. May have found. And then on the second half of the sentence, we have it has found. It has found. Verb phrase there. Number 3. Now I want you to pay attention to this. Look here. We have a coordinating conjunction, but I'm going to kind of give it away here. This is a simple sentence. Even though we have a conjunction and a comma in it, there's one thing that is missing. It's the complete thought. Okay? Let me read the sentence, and you can hopefully you can kind of get the idea. With a little courage, teamwork, and determination, a person can overcome anything. Well, if you just start by finding your subject and verb, you might can find that there is only one set. Okay? But let's go ahead and look at the comma and there. If you want to put a box around it just for the sake of doing it, you can, because we do have a comma and a coordinating conjunction. But the difference is we don't have a comma and a coordinating conjunction on both sides of it. It'd be like we have the conjunction and we have a subject and a verb over here, but we don't have a subject and a verb on the first side. If you look at it, it says, with a little courage, teamwork. That's not a sentence at all. We have some nouns in there, but we don't have any verbs. So if you were to stop the sentence there and says, with a little courage, teamwork, that's not a sentence. Hopefully you would understand that that's a fragment when I'm just reading it. So that can't be a sentence, a complete thought on this side. So we have to continue going with the sentence. With a little courage, teamwork, and determination, a person can overcome anything. You've basically just got a big prepositional phrase at the beginning of the sentence. One gigantic prepositional phrase that stops after determination. And you only have one subject and one verb phrase in this sentence. Who are we talking about? Person. And what did they do? Can overcome. So that's why this is just a simple sentence. Even though you have a conjunction, you don't have two complete thoughts. You have to have 2 separate complete thoughts. Okay? Why don't you go ahead and try 4 and 5 by yourself to see if you can figure that out. You're looking for the coordinating conjunctions, but also a complete thought. That's all by itself. I'm going to put it right here. One complete thought. This would have 2 complete thoughts if you want to stick it in there somewhere. Okay, if you want to pause the video and do 4, 5, and 6, you can. I'm going to go on to exercise C, because there it's kind of like a little formula, kind of like we've got to explain why, okay, kind of what I was just doing, okay? So I'm going to try to run through this a little bit quickly and kind of give you show you on the board what I want you to do. Same thing as you've been doing. Subject, verbs, find the coordinating conjunction or the semicolon, and then say, is it simple or compound, okay? So number 1, let me read it. It says, pepperoni and sausage are typical pizza toppings in the United States, but canned tuna and onions are popular pizza toppings in Germany. Okay. Real quick, run through the sentence, find if there's any coordinating conjunctions, semicolons. We actually have a few conjunctions. We've got 2 ands and 1 but. Now, one of them has a comma next to it, so that gives us another clue. We've got comma but right after the word states, United States. Okay? But let's see if we have a subject and verb on one side and a subject and verb on the second side. Complete thoughts. On the first side, we have pepperoni and sausage are typical pizza toppings in the United States. Pepperoni and sausage are. Subject and verb is fine. Let's look on the second side. Canned tuna and onions are popular pizza toppings in the United States. Tuna and onions are. We've got another subject and verb. So here's what you're supposed to do in the little blank right there. Use a different color. We've got subject and verb on one side. 2 subjects. Pepperoni, sausage are. We've got the coordinating conjunction. It's supposed to be a box. It's not a very straight box, sorry. And then we have subjects and verbs on the second side. 2 subjects, 1 verb. That means it equals a compound sentence. Because we have the coordinating conjunction and we have a sentence on one side and a sentence on the other side, making it compound. And that's the whole thing that they want you to put in the blank. Let me do number 2 with you. Maybe number 3, we'll see. Number 2, the modern day carrot is plump, juicy, and orange, but ancient carrots were thin, dry, and purple. Look for the connector. Do we have a coordinating conjunction? We do. It is comma but. Looks like that's we got another conjunction, but it's the one that you're looking at is comma but. Okay? We have that. Let's make sure we have a subject and verb on the first side. The modern day carrot is plump, juicy, and orange. Subject and verb. Carrot is. Subject, verb. Look on the second half. Ancient carrots were thin, dry, and purple. Carrots were. Subject, verb. Making this a compound sentence. Compound sentence. One more, number 3. Pansies and orchids are edible flowers. First, look for the conjunction. Do we have one? We do. It is and. Check and see, does it have a comma? It does not. Also notice there's only 1 word on the first side of the conjunction. So it can't possibly be a sentence with just 1 word right there. Okay? Where's the verb in the sentence though? Pansies and orchids are edible flowers. Take a second look. We do have the verb are. Okay, so we have a verb. We actually have 2 subjects, pansies and orchids. Orchids. No coordinating conjunction, nothing to connect anything, two ideas, making this just a simple sentence. 1 thought. And that's the distinguishing difference. How many complete thoughts do you have? Do you have 1 complete thought, making it simple, or do you have more than 1 complete thought, making it a compound sentence? Okay? That's basically the idea. 1 complete thought or 2 or more complete thoughts. Work on the rest of those. Let me know if you have questions about any of it. And hopefully that was clear.